East of the Sun and West of the Moon, a Norwegian fairy tale. Read for you by Renee Rousseau. Once upon a time, there was a poor peasant who had so many children that he did not have enough of either food or clothing to give them. Pretty children they all were, but the prettiest was the youngest daughter, who was so lovely there was no end to her loveliness. One day, it was on a Thursday evening late in the fall, the weather was wild and rough outside, and it was cruelly dark. The rain was falling and the wind was blowing, until the walls of the cottage shook. They were all sitting around the fire, busy with this thing and that. Then all at once, something gave 3 taps on the window. The father went out to see what was the matter. Outside, what should he see but a great, big, white bear. "Good evening to you," said the white bear. "The same to you," said the man. "Will you give me your youngest daughter? If you will, I'll make you as rich as you are now poor," said the bear. Well, the man would not be at all sorry to be so rich, but still, he thought he must have a bit of a talk with his daughter first. So he went in, and told them how there was a great white bear waiting outside, who had given his word to make them so rich, if he could only have the youngest daughter. The girl said no, outright. Nothing could get her to say anything else. So the man went out, and settled it with the white bear that he should come again the next Thursday evening and get an answer. Meantime, he talked to his daughter, and kept on telling her of all the riches they would get, and how well off she herself would be. At last she agreed to it, so she washed and mended her rags, and made herself as smart as she could. Soon she was ready for the trip, for she didn't have much to take along. The next Thursday evening came the white bear to fetch her. She got on his back with her bundle, and off they went. After they had gone a good way, the white bear said, "Are you afraid?" No, she wasn't. "Just hold tight to my shaggy coat, and there's nothing to be afraid of," said the bear. She rode a long, long way, until they came to a large, steep cliff. The white bear knocked on it. A door opened, and they came into a castle, where there were many rooms all lit up, rooms gleaming with silver and gold. Further, there was a table set there, and it was all as grand could be. Then the white bear gave her a silver bell, and when she wanted anything, she only had to ring it, and she would get it at once. Well, after she had eaten, and it became evening, she felt sleepy from her journey, and thought she would like to go to bed, so she rang the bell. She had barely rung it before she found herself in a room, where there was a bed made as fair and white as anyone could wish to sleep in, with silken pillows and curtains, and gold fringe. All that was in the room was gold or silver. After she had gone to bed, and put out the light, a man came and laid himself alongside her. It was the white bear, who had cast off his pelt at night, but she never saw him, for he always came after she had put out the light. Before the day dawned he was up and off again. Things went on happily for a while, but at last she became quiet and sad. She was alone all day long, and she became very homesick to see her father and mother and brothers and sisters. So one day, when the white bear asked what was wrong with her, she said it was so lonely there, and how she longed to go home to see her father and mother and brothers and sisters, and that was why she was so sad, because she couldn't get to them. "Well," said the bear, "that can happen all right, but you must promise me not to talk alone with your mother, but only when others are around to hear. She will want to take you by the hand, and lead you into a room to talk alone with her, but you must not do that, or else you'll bring bad luck on both of us." So one Sunday the white bear came, and said they could now set off to see her father and mother. Off they went, she sitting on his back, and they went far and long. At last they came to a grand house. Her brothers and sisters were outside, running about and playing. Everything was so pretty, it was a joy to see. "This is where your father and mother live now," said the white bear. "Now don't forget what I told you, else you'll make us both unhappy." No, heaven forbid, she'd not forget. When they reached the house, the white bear turned around and left her. She went in to see her father and mother, and there was such joy that there was no end to it. None of them could thank her enough for all she had done for them. They now had everything they could wish for, as good could be. Then they wanted to know how she was. "Well," she said, "it was very good to live where she did. She had all she wished." I don't know what else she said, but I don't think she told any of them the whole story. That afternoon, after they had eaten dinner, everything happened as the white bear had said it would. Her mother wanted to talk with her alone in her bedroom, But she remembered what the white bear had said, and wouldn't go with her. "What we have to talk about we can talk about any time," she said, and put her mother off. But somehow or other, her mother got to her at last, and she had to tell her the whole story. She told her how, every night, after she had gone to bed, a man came and lay down beside her as soon as she had put out the light, and how she never saw him, because he was always up and away before the morning dawned, and how she was terribly sad, for she wanted so much to see him, and how she was by herself all day long, and how dreary and lonesome it was. "Oh dear," said her mother, "it may well be a troll you are sleeping with. But now I'll give you some good advice how to see him. I'll give you a candle stub, which you can carry home in your bosom. Just light it while he is asleep, but be careful not to drop any tallow on him." Yes, she took the candle and hid it in her bosom, and that evening the white bear came and took her away. But when they had gone a piece, the white bear asked if all hadn't happened as he had said. She couldn't deny that it had. "Take care," said he. "If you have listened to your mother's advice, you will bring bad luck on us both, and it will be finished with the two of us." "No, by no means." So when she reached home and had gone to bed, it was the same as before. A man came and lay down beside her, but in the middle of the night, when she heard that he was fast asleep, she got up and lit the candle. She let the light shine on him, and saw that he was the most handsome prince one ever set eyes on. She fell so deeply in love with him that she thought she couldn't live if she didn't give him a kiss at once. And so she did, but as she kissed him she let 3 drops of hot tallow drip onto his shirt, and he woke up. "What have you done?" he cried. "Now you have made us both unlucky, for had you held out only this 1 year I would have been free. I have a stepmother who has bewitched me, so that I am a white bear by day and a man by night. But now all ties are broken between us. Now I must leave you for her. She lives in a castle east of the sun and west of the moon, and there, too, is a princess, one with a nose 3 yards long, and now I will have to marry her." She cried and grieved, but there was no help for it. He had to go. Then she asked if she could go with him. No, she could not. "Tell me the way, then," she said, "so I can look for you. Surely I may do that." Yes, she could do that, but there was no way leading to the place. It lay east of the sun and west of the moon, and she'd never find her way there. The next morning, when she woke up, both the prince and the castle were gone, and she was lying on a little green patch in the midst of the thick, dark forest, and by her side lay the same bundle of rags she had brought with her from her old house. When she had rubbed the sleep out of her eyes, and cried until she was tired, she set out on her way, and walked many, many days, until she came to a high cliff. An old woman sat under it, and played with a golden apple which she tossed about. The girl asked her if she knew the way to the prince, who lived with his stepmother in the castle east of the sun and west of the moon, and who was to marry the princess with a nose 3 yards long. "How did you come to know about him?" asked the old woman. "Maybe you are the girl who should have had him?" Yes, she was. So, it's you, is it?" said the old woman. "Well, all I know about him is that he lives in the castle east of the sun and west of the moon, and that you'll get there too late or never. But still, you may borrow my horse, and you can ride him to my next neighbor. Maybe she'll be able to tell you. And when you get there, just give the horse a switch under the left ear, and beg him to be off home. And you can take this golden apple along with you." So she got on the horse, and rode a long, long time, until she came to another cliff, under which sat another old woman, with a golden carding comb. The girl asked her if she knew the way to the castle that lay east of the sun and west of the moon, and she answered, like the first old woman, that she knew nothing about it, except that it was east of the sun and west of the moon. "And you'll get there too late or never, but you can borrow my horse to my next neighbor. Maybe she'll tell you all about it, and when you get there, just switch the horse under the left ear, and beg him to be off for home." This old woman gave her the golden carding comb. She might find some use for it, she said. So the girl got up on the horse, and again rode a long, long way. At last she came to another great cliff, under which sat another old woman, spinning with a golden spinning wheel. She asked her, as well, if she knew the way to the prince, and where the castle was that lay east of the sun and west of the moon. But it was the same thing over again. "Perhaps you are the one who should have had the prince?" said the old woman. Yes, that she was. But she didn't know the way any better than the other two, She knew it was east of the sun and west of the moon, but that was all. "And you'll get there too late or never, but I'll lend you my horse, and then I think you'd best ride to the east wind and ask him. Maybe he knows his way around those parts and can blow you there. When you get to him, just give the horse a switch under the left ear, and he'll trot home by himself." East of the sun and west of the moon. A Norwegian fairy tale. Read for you by Renee Rousseau. Once upon a time, there was a poor peasant who had so many children that he did not have enough of either food or clothing to give them. Pretty children they all were, but the prettiest was the youngest daughter, who was so lovely there was no end to her loveliness. One day, it was on a Thursday evening late in the fall, the weather was wild and rough outside, and it was cruelly dark. The rain was falling and the wind was blowing, until the walls of the cottage shook. They were all sitting around the fire, busy with this thing and that. Then all at once, something gave 3 taps on the window. The father went out to see what was the matter. Outside, what should he see but a great, big, white bear. "Good evening to you," said the white bear. "The same to you," said the man. "Will you give me your youngest daughter?"